Hello, everybody. As I like talk and have a full sentence. Welcome to a random book club that we decided to just kind of do quarterly. So this is our quarterly book club. These are my co-hosts. This is Storm from Storm Reads, who's next to me, and then below me is Lee from Dark Roots Creations. We all read mystery thrillers. We all love them, some more than others.
Some like mysteries, not thrillers.
And I am a hit or miss on all of it. Like, I feel like this light's shining off my face. It's a hit or miss. So sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not so great. So tonight we are reading, I have my book with me. We read The Examiner by Janice Hallett. Storm and I think Lee, I think you're a fan of Janice, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So all three of us, we kind of said, I said, I'm going to read this book. And then I said, Storm, you like Janice. Will you read this with me? And she said, yes. And then I said, Lee, why don't you jump on the bandwagon? So all three of us are here. We're going to talk about this. Lee has not finished it, but she doesn't care. So she's going to hang out, be moderating / we're going to spoil some stuff for her. But she's okay with it, right?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Cool. So this might be spoilers. I'm not going to go heavy on the spoilers just because this book is wild and I don't want to be here all night. So we'll talk about it and then we will kind of wrap up and we'll discuss
remember of it.
Right? I just finished it today. So we'll see what I remember and what I know. So before we get started, I do have some notes and I have prepared. This is like an official book club, guys. Buckle up. I know, right? So
Monks may help me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. First of all, I thought we would do a elevator pitch. So this is what I like to do with my authors. I always tell them to elevator pitch their books. So I wrote one. So here's it. It's an epistolary mystery told through emails, texts, essays, and course materials, centered on an experimental art master's program and a looming sense that something has gone very, very wrong.
Okay.
Would you read that based on that description?
Yes.
Yes.
Pull you in?
Do I feel at 30% into this book any of that has happened? No. No. I feel most of what you said is true, but I feel like something looming is going on or something like that. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where we're going right now. I don't know what the crime is. I don't know. Is it a murder? Is it? And there's been like little hints of things here and there. So I'm like, is it people? I don't know. I don't know what it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's, exactly how I felt whenever I was reading it. So
yeah.
So before we go any further, there's a couple people in the chat, but if you go ahead and give us your star rating. So Storm, what's your star rating of the book? 1 through 5. 1, I hated it. I can't believe you made me read this book. And 5, I loved it. I'm going to scream it from the mountaintops.
Okay, so I gave it like 3.5.
Okay, so you were like in the middle.
I was in the middle. I gave it like 4, I think maybe on Goodreads because, they don't do 0.5s or whatever. But I thought it was better than a 3, but I don't necessarily think it was a 4. So.
Lee, how do you think you're going to rate it?
Right now I'm at a 3 because I'm interested to find out what's going to happen. But at this point, I'm like, don't know where we're going with it.
Right.
So, how about you?
I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm with Storm. I think I would do like a 3.5, but I'm going to give it a 4 on Goodreads.
Okay.
Because I feel like it deserves I think the twists were there. The writing was good. I like the format. I like all the things. I just think it was too much.
Okay.
There was too much in the pot of gumbo. Like there were too many flavors.
There needed to be some likable characters.
That is one of the questions that I will ask tonight. So before we go into more of a discussion, I just want to I always like to tell, read a little bit of a bio of the author, so we all know what she has out in the world. So Janice Hallett is a British mystery writer, a playwright, and a screenwriter. Simon & Schuster describes her as a playwright, screenwriter who wrote the stage comedy Netherbard and co-wrote the feature film Retreat. She lives in London and is the author of The Appeal, The Twyford Code, The Christmas Appeal, The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels, The Examiner, Killer Question, and The Silent Appeal. So she's written a lot. She also has one middle grade. Storm, what's the title?
A Box Full of Murder.
Yes. I couldn't think of it. I think it's something. And then there's 2 books coming out this year. The second to A Box Full of Murders. I don't know that title, but I did write down The Silent Appeal, which is her sequel to The Appeal. And that's coming out August 25th of 2026. Oh, okay. So, have you read any of these books before? And where would this book rate amongst the other books you read?
I have only read The Appeal and The Christmas Appeal, and then her middle grade book. And so, if I'm just reading adult books, it's going to be below those.
Okay. Lee, have you read any of the other ones?
I have read The Appeal and The Christmas Appeal, which I gave both 4 stars. I did enjoy those. I started reading Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels. I thought it would be right up my alley because it has cults in it, and I do like the writing style of this, but I DNF'd it. I just couldn't get into that one. I was very disappointed. Yeah. And I do have A Box Full of Murders, which I'm saving for May, so I will be reading that one.
And I will read that with you if my sister-in-law gives my copy back. Because I haven't read it yet, but I let her borrow it because you can't get it in the U.S. or you couldn't at the time. I don't know.
I got it in the UK.
You can get it, I think, on Amazon now as a print book, but that's it.
Oh, okay. I ordered it from Blackwell's in the UK, and they ship free to the United States. I don't know if I should say that on a live. I don't want them to like revoke that after everyone knows. Like, I don't want them to stop like shipping things to the US because it's free. It's free. Okay. So
I will say though, out of all the books, middle grade one's my favorite.
Okay. And I need to read that. That's the one I need to read. I think I've read all of her other ones. I will say I'm looking at my list. The Appeal was my favorite. And then I will have to say The Killer Question, Examiner, and then the other 2, The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels, and then The Twyford Code was probably my least favorite. So that's kind of where you go. If you haven't read them all, that's kind of my listings of the other ones to it. Before we get more into questions, do we want to look at and see what people have to say really quick? I tried to let you pop in, so I'll just do them real quick.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I don't have access, so.
Yeah, I tried. So Mary Jo was here. So hello, Mary Jo. If you come back, leave us a comment. Let us know what you rated the book, if you read it, or if you're going to read it, let us know if you decide to read it or not. And Roxy said she tried to read the book, but DNF'd it. No big deal. That seems to be on the end this time. I think people are kind of like, so. Yeah. Nadine says, had to push myself to finish it. LOL. Nadine, I know. Nadine was the one I think that had to get it on audio, right?
Yeah, I told her to try to get the audio because I felt like it helped.
Yes.
One because I was really struggling. I will say that, like, if I wouldn't have had the audio, I don't know if I would have finished it on time.
I would not have either. I'll be honest. But I also think her books are well done on audio, and I don't know if I could read them anymore in print.
Yeah.
Lee, what do you think?
Especially if they have like the full cast.
Yes, I love the full cast.
I did start listening to it to try to push myself a little bit more on Spotify with like the hours I had left. But it's when you're doing the text, it's not telling you who's sending the text. Like, it doesn't say Patrick or Cameron or whatever. So it's like, I still had to like look to see who it was at the same time. So driving, reading, and, dealing with my road rage wasn't going to work out. So I'm like, all right, it's just going to be reading with my eyes. So.
Right. One of the guys sounded like Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's the Patrick. Yeah.
Patrick.
Because he was from Ireland or whatever.
Yeah, I had to double take. I was like, I don't know who this is, but I know it's not Liam Neeson because I had to look it up because I was like, this guy sounds exactly like Liam Neeson.
I was also surprised that Gela, I think that's how we're saying her name, that it was an American accent.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would the main lady not be British? But okay.
Storm, what do you think
What do I think? What?
about the lady?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't remember.
Well, no,
Really?
it's not a big deal. But I did know. I noticed that towards the end. That's the only reason. I didn't know if you noticed it. Hey Liz, she gave it 2.5, and that might be generous. LOL. Looking forward to hearing the opinions of people who actually enjoyed it or who enjoyed it. Nice. Well, I don't blame you because I don't know if many people in the chat liked it either. So we'll see. And Nadine gave it 2 stars. Okay, fair. And Nadine said, "Side note: I start all the books at 3 stars."
I do too.
Do you? I don't. I think we talked about this. I started everything at 5 stars because I'm like, everyone gets 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm like a down the middle, and if I like it, it goes up. If I don't, it goes down. And so, yeah.
Lee, you too?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm the only optimist around here.
I think Tiffany might be like you. I think
Tiffany probably is. She's probably more like that. Angela says, I don't like to give star ratings unless it's clear 5 stars. But if I had to give this one a rating, I'd probably do 4 stars. It was a fun ride and inspired me to read more. Great. See, I like the mix. I think if everybody hated it, I would have been sad.
Well, then I think if everybody loved it, I'd see somebody who was not telling the truth.
That too. From going a wish.
There's got to be a mix, I think, when you do book club stuff.
Right. No, I agree. I think you have to have a really good book club. I think it's good to have people who don't like something and then people who like it, because that gives you more of an opinion of, more of something to discuss.
As long as the people who likes it can handle the people who don't, because we don't need feelings hurt.
I agree. I would just be sad because I picked the book.
And and it's funny, it's like of all the Janice Hallett ones, it was like one that just didn't really, I don't know. And I thought the premise sounded really cool.
Me too.
Yes.
And it's really funny because you go through half the book and then all of a sudden it's a totally different book.
Mm-hmm.
It flips and you're just like, oh, we are not in the same book. So you're still.
I was like, where is this going?
Right? Oh yeah. Lee's still in the everything's in the question.
Yeah,
we're all in the art phase. Nadine said, this was my first Janice Hallett. I don't think I'm the person for her style of writing.
It's very specific.
It is. Nadine, I will say, if you are so inclined to try something again, I think you should try The Appeal.
Yes.
Because that one seems like everybody across the board, or most people across the board, have liked The Appeal. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't tried a Janice Hallett before, I would try that one and then come back and let me know.
And I think with The Appeal, I thought it was more a straightforward mystery. You had 2 police detectives who were trying to figure something out.
Yes.
You went through it knowing somebody's going to die, and then you're going to have to figure out who done it. And so you're trying to piece things together to figure out who died, and then you're trying to figure out who done it. This one didn't go that way.
Right.
And I had that in my head when I went into this one. And
yes.
This is totally going.
And I think with her books, this The Appeal is the only one that does that. The other ones, there's like a twist. Everybody thinks that you're all on one playing field, and then all of a sudden there's like a snap situation, judgment, comment, and then you figure out something else entirely. So,
that is good knowing going into any of her other books, because I would also thought they were going to be kind of like the first one that I read.
Yeah, exactly.
I think maybe The Killer Question is more like The Appeal, but not really. It's still like there's something else going on.
And so, I think A Box Full of Murder, even the middle grade, even though it's 2 kids, you still get that you're trying to figure out who got murdered and then trying to figure out who done it. It still has kind of that style.
Okay.
See, I think I'll like that better than this one. Angela said, I have also read Killer Question.
What did you think of that one, Angela?
Yeah. Let us know, because I would be interested.
Yeah, I haven't read that one. So
yeah.
And Nadine said the audio did help. Thank you, Stormy, for that suggestion. Yeah, no, I agree with Storm with that. Yes. And Liz says, I do think it gets the world of academia right. That is interesting because I don't have, I mean, I went through grad school, but I don't have, it was a different kind of course. So I don't have those kinds of feelings that they did during the academic part of the book.
Well, I think an interesting part of that, though, is, yeah, it's academia, but there's also people at all different levels of life in here.
That's
like
true.
You had with the girl with the kids, you have Jem, who's very young, you have some people who are a bit older, business owners. So it did come. So some of them had previous experience as well. Allison, who thinks she's like the superstar. So yeah, I do think that it did play it, but where everybody's at that stage in their life right now.
I think that's a really good point. I think that was a really well represented in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hold on, question. You guys can spoiler me here right now.
Yeah.
The other lady, May or whoever, who runs it above Jella, who keeps asking for the diversity sheet, is that going to come into play at all?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just like, are we asking for the sake of asking, or is there going to be some point to this?
But not in the way I think that you think it's going to be.
Okay.
Does that?
I just want to know if we're going to come back to it or not, because she's mentioned it a few times, and I'm like, is it even going to be anything, or are we going nowhere?
At the very end.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's two things that come with that. So there's a student component to that. Like there's somebody that plays into that. And then there's questions about the course in general, the authenticity of the course, what's going on, those kinds of things. What's really happening?
Okay, I feel that comes into play with two things so far. I feel like I can't remember everybody's name, the kiss guy, I feel like that's like a BS reason that he's there. Yes. And the fact that where I was at, Jella just said, like, this is the only course she has left, so she has to make it work. So, A, why do you have no more courses? And B, why do you have to make this work?
Right. So. Well, I think also, if I'm thinking about it, that part, I could see it making sense, because when you have a program in a university or like even like a library, you have to have a success rate, or they're not going to like let you teach another course. So that part, I see where you're saying, because there's also like what's the sketch situation, but also it's like, okay, I see this is like a new course. So there's like this, you're kind of like, well, is it not? It kind of adds to that, but I don't know, the way that you perceive it. The one thing about this discussion tonight is I don't know how much we want to just flat out say
it seems everybody else has read the book. I don't care if I'm getting spoiled, so it's fine.
Well, I would say, if you say that we're going to spoil it, and if somebody is watching it, not to watch past this if they don't want to get spoiled, then
okay.
It's on them if they continue to.
That's true. Okay. So let's go a little bit further. I just want to talk about the format really quick. I have notes on the side, just in case you guys are like, what's she looking at? What did we like the format of the book, first of all? The letters, the emails, the correspondence, all of that. Does that make the mystery more fun or more frustrating?
I like the format some, but I also think that, like at the beginning, it's very draggy.
Yeah.
Because you have no clue what's going on, and some of the text, the emails, or whatever are boring. Because it's not until you get past a certain point to where you're like, oh, I really want to know what's happening now with these texts and things that are going on. But at the beginning, it's just like, this is really boring, everyday, mundane work type things or schooling things and stuff. So sometimes that I don't think it works very well with. But
yeah. Lee, do you like this format?
I'll say I think the difference between this and like the appeal and the Christmas appeal is, yes, you've got like, for example, in the Christmas appeal, it'd be like the first person would be like writing her holiday letter to everybody. So you did learn a bit about the family that way, but then you got into a bit of a story, and then it would be some text messages or emails or voicemails, and then it would go back into a bit of the story, like actually going on. Then you'd get interspersed with the two detectives having messages with each other. I feel like so far 30% into this book, and it's nothing's been, it's
you don't get the examiners very much.
Right, exactly. That's very rare, and everything else is the coursework or the messages on Doodle and private messages. There's no actual things going on in the current, or even, it's just all through this messaging. I wish we had a little bit more of like going on right now.
Yeah, like a paragraph of like an actual storyline,
yes,
and not just told completely in letters and text messages. And I think this is where the audiobook comes to play. I think if I honestly had to sit down and read this book, I think I don't know if I could sit and read it, just because it's strict. I think for me, the dynamic of having the multicast and having them read the text messages and the emails and all of that, I think that really brought it to life, where I think it's even more confusing sometimes when you're just reading those, page after page after page.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, do you think you trust people less or more because you only see what you're given? Were you suspicious at all?
Oh yeah, I don't trust any of them because I know something has happened, and I'm like, I don't know who it is.
Right, because they all seemed
so bad.
They all seemed kind of shady. All seemed kind of like, I don't know what's going on. And the ones that you don't expect anything, obviously, are the ones.
Yeah, and there was probably only one that I liked out of the whole group that I thought was semi-normal.
Who did you like?
Who wasn't?
Who was it?
Patrick.
Oh, yes. I liked Patrick too, but he also is shady. Patrick is shady.
Yeah, well, that's why I said. But you don't get it until like towards the end, and you're like, what happened?
Is he the only one that you were shocked about?
I was shocked about Jem and everything because I didn't see that one coming.
No.
Fun.
Oh, now I'm curious.
This is a spoiler. Okay, so spoiler. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna ask Lee first. What do you think could be what do you think could be her secret? Jem's secret specifically?
I don't know, but I think it's something with her father. I think it's something with her dad.
She needs her father to function, I think. I think she could function by herself.
I just made a pun. I just didn't see that coming.
No, Storm doesn't do puns.
So what would be her diversity?
Oh yeah, she's the diversity.
Is she blind?
Yes.
That's why she's so into the sound and the ASMR part of things. Wow.
Right?
And her dad has to drive her.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, you think she's all just like a big baby or whatever.
Yes.
She has to have her father all the time. And then it's like, oh, that.
Well, I'm also thinking like her dad has money and he's like using that somehow for like something shady behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because like when she pays the woman to do the project for her, well, apparently she hasn't paid her yet where I'm at in the book.
Yeah.
But also like she kind of like acts like she's going to throw his money around a little bit. Like, so.
Yeah. Yeah. She's blind.
I thought the diversity was going to have to do with the different ages and maybe whatever her name is with the L who has the kids like that. Like I thought that was going to be all the different aspects.
Luda,
yeah.
I was gonna say I know it like starts with an L.
Yeah. So, so Jem was the diversity, but I also thought Patrick could also fall into that because he's the older one in the group.
Yes.
So you could also see him like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna do quick comments really quick so we can keep up with them. Angela said, I liked Killer Question quite a bit too, but I also like doing pub trivia, so that was a fun aspect. I completely agree. I liked because it's all about trivia nights and things, and the fun competition between the groups and how they got kind of like under each other's skin and like people were trying to tattle on each other. That was funny.
That sounds like that could be kind of.
Yeah, it was good. I recommend that one for sure. And Liz says, I was thinking in terms of group work and those dynamics, I could feel their frustrations. I get that. I didn't have a ton of group projects in grad school. So like, I mean, it seemed very reasonable, but that thought didn't come to my mind.
Yeah, when you don't have one pulling their weight in a group and you're all expecting to work together because you're going to get the same grade, but if you do all the work, it's not fair. And
right.
And that's even why I thought with Jem becoming the financial manager, again, I thought that had something to do with her dad and the money too, like that, just something to do with that part.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Like when you already knew even in school when you were going to get in a project with the kid who wasn't going to do anything and you're like, great, I got to do all the work now.
Not to insult any Gen Zs that might be watching this or in the comments, but she about drove me crazy.
I agree.
Yeah, no, But then when you find out that she's blind, you're a little bit like, oh.
It was a little bit, but she still thought she was, I mean, project manager because.
Yeah. And then she like kept asking so as you go along, she keeps talking to this examiner about her grade and she wants him to like guarantee that her grade she's going to be graduating with distinction. Yeah. So like it doesn't end. She just still to the end of the book.
Always.
Now you guys saying it just makes so much more like how she reiterated listening to the radio, growing up listening to the radio all the time. But they also throw you off because it makes it seem like, oh, she has these older grandparents who probably didn't have a TV type of situation. Wow.
So I will say, I think Janice Hallett does a fantastic job with the twists because you know something's coming, but the whole time you can justify it in some way. So like, again, with her being blind, you could justify the entire time that she is like, has no kind of disability. There's no like any kind of diversity in her case situation. It's got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could chuck her down to like a daddy's girl who.
Yeah. Yes. And even the fact that other people have used like personal reasons or whatever they've like looked for the extensions and the excuses and she hasn't. So
she was the only one, I think it said, that she didn't file one of those claims.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else had done that. So
Interesting.
So if we had to rank the cast from most suspicious to least suspicious, we've got six students. We've got Jem, Patrick, Jonathan, Lydia, Cameron, and Allison. Who do we think? So we already know Jem is shady, and we know Patrick is shady. I think I'm giving myself a thumbs up with my computer.
I'm missing somebody. Hold on. There was Jem, Patrick, Jonathan, Luda, and Allison.
And Cameron.
Oh, Cameron too, yeah.
Cameron was the one that was the business guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he has other motives. He's on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
That part was wild. We will have to talk about that.
That was crazy.
So there's also
he's always on his phone, and it's like
there's a reason
really
for that
comes into play.
Okay, so then we have Patrick, who's the older gentleman, oldest of the group. So you think he's fine. So I don't know. How did you rate him? Shady or not shady?
Until the end, I thought he was fine.
I did too. So I'm going to say he was the middle.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I thought he was a rotten egg. I thought he for sure was this like pretty boy, wealthy, cheating on his wife, cheating on like, just like in the class for no good reason, kind of a thing. Not true. Okay. Loda, I didn't like her at all. I thought she was a brat.
She's just money hungry.
That too. And I think she was an excuse.
Tries to blame it all on the fact she has kids.
Yes. Yeah. And then Cameron was addicted to his phone.
Yeah.
And Allison, was she there?
She's the one that I think I distrusted the most.
Yes, because you never knew where she was. Yeah. And she always seemed like
she always had to work alone, and she always had, so yeah.
Pretentious.
And she really wanted to have like the key, like the keypad, so she could go and do whatever she wanted. Mm-hmm. But I also, one of the people I think are the shadiest is Gila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's also let's talk about the examiner.
Okay.
The person that is supposed to be reviewing the notes. You are kind of the examiner in a way, but also there's a character who's the examiner. Trustworthy or not? Just what do you think? Yes or no?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you want to say yes.
Yeah. He's not. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
He is not who you think he is.
Okay.
At the very end, you find out he is not.
But like through the whole thing, I mean, he seemed okay.
Yeah.
Until you find out.
Until you find out he's not. So you can't trust anyone. You can't trust the program because the program is Storm. Program's fake.
What?
Program's fake.
Yeah.
It's all a front.
But for what?
We are just spilling it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't watch if you don't want to know.
That's true. Okay, so there is a climate change activist.
Yes.
That is what they are. That is the organization. They're
doing the project for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they are against, so they are trying to infiltrate this.
Well, some of the people that are in the class are trying to infiltrate in it.
Yes. In this, okay, so they do this like work study they do this like installation at the end, the big project. They want to get into this company to get something out of the company. And
that's the whole reason they're doing this whole thing is just okay. So there's some people that know the program. They know that they're in a fake program, and there's some people who believe they're in a real program.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's only one person who thinks she's in a real program.
So Jem, got it.
Yes. Yes.
Got it. It's Jem.
Yes.
Poor Jem.
Poor Jem. She has no idea. And someone does die. So, any guesses on who dies?
Well, you've already told me, so I'm going to say it was Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Cameron has a Weekend at Bernie's situation, which is amazing. I did like this part. So real quick before I talk about Weekend at Bernie's, I'm going to read Nadine's comment. She says she thinks the format was fine. It was different. However, I was never sure what to pay attention to, what would be important in the end. Yeah. I think, Nadine, that is signature Janice Hallett. Yeah. I think you just never know. Because even what you think is important, it flips it on its head and you're like, oh, I had no idea.
And I do think it can be hard for some people to keep it all in their head and without taking notes or something like
that.
A lot of people like to take notes or whatever. Because I don't. I'm just like, I'm reading this and we're just going to hope that I remember
exactly
at the end.
So I feel like this is part of like I'm just rehashing this book with the two of you, and people are going to watch us or decide not to. But that's kind of because this book is so insane.
It's kind of like one of my videos whenever I tell you all about my retro ones. You know, a lot of people that might not want to read this book is going to watch this.
This is what you should watch. Yes. And then Nadine said, I hated all the characters and didn't care who got bumped off. I didn't care who would have done it. Patrick was beyond shady. Correct. Patrick was a drug mule. And,
shut up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's why he's
that's his shady past. He was a drug mule.
Wow.
Right?
And the way he got to where he was pretty shady too.
Wow. I would have never thought. You know what? Because I thought he was just too nice because he's like nice to Jem. He plays like, come on, everybody, give her a break type of thing. So it's just like, okay, you are older. Maybe you're just like, I don't want to play the game.
Father figure type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said at first I thought he was probably the nicest one out of the whole bunch.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh.
Well, and then there was this whole thing with like his ladies in his shop, and so I just thought, oh yeah, like all these people do things for him, like he just doesn't know how to do anything, because like there was a point where he was trying to figure out how to do the resin.
Yes.
And they were all like, oh yeah, the ladies in the shop, he probably doesn't know how to check his email, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think I need to talk to Storm, and so Lee, you're going to be in this conversation.
Go ahead.
About Cameron. So Cameron works for the government? Is that what so this is why I need to rehash this. So Cameron works for, I think, the government, and he has a government phone, and he has to touch the phone or have communications with
face recognition. It's facial
yes.
Every 5 minutes.
Every so many, he has to look at it. And if somebody else does it, alarm goes off.
Yeah, that happened in the basket in the studio at the
That's very important to know.
Yes. So when he dies, we got a problem.
Because no one's going to look at his phone.
No one's going to look at the phone, and then they're all going to know he's dead. So what do you do with a dead body? You keep them in a freezer.
With the phone.
I mean, good thinking on their part, but still.
Right. So it gets even better. So they have to open the freezer every so many minutes because, you got to keep this.
Somebody has to stay with him.
Yeah.
Right. That too. And so the freezer can't handle the opening and closing, so they have to get a new freezer. So there is this part where I thought, what the heck is going on with the freezer? There's a part earlier in the book, you might be at it, where they're like, I have to go, it's Easter break, I have to go get a freezer.
I might be just before that.
Okay. Well, I thought that was weird. I thought, why do they have to get a freezer? It's Easter term or break or whatever they use.
Yeah.
And it's because the freezer died because they open it too often. It has to overwork itself.
Got it.
So, Storm, do you want to talk about what happens to the head?
That's where the resin comes in handy.
What?
Okay, so first of all, you have to have first of all, they say there's something in the head, the paper mache head.
Yes, yeah, okay.
And Jen's working on that, so she doesn't know any of this other stuff or whatever. She just works on that, and we all know she's blind, so she can't see anything.
Right. And if you're blind, now that I know that she's blind, it's like no wonder they could get away with so much stuff because she never knew what they were doing. I mean, she knew a lot, and for somebody that was blind, I felt like you would never know, like looking back at it, but also it was like no wonder they could pull off a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So they took his finger and put it in resin, so then they could unlock his phone.
Okay.
But they needed his face, so they had to clear off his face every time. But then they ended up, I don't understand how the head got attached to the body. That was the part. But then I
think that was because there was going to come a time where they weren't going to be able to be there all the time, opening it up and closing it. And Patrick says, I have an idea. And that was his idea. Because you don't know what his idea is at the beginning until somebody looks in there and goes, oh!
So,
oh my God.
And what they find is a head that's been chopped off with a phone strapped to the face, so then it can unlock the phone.
I mean, it's very outlandish and crazy, but it was like this just went in a direction that I just
yeah, you're not thinking at all.
Right. But also kind of brilliant, you're just kind of like, this is crazy. And I liked, so you find this out with this face strapped to this phone after the business that they're infiltrating to get the thing that they need from the environmental agency, government agency, is they have this presentation, and then there's I think it's Jem, and she's holding the head when the lights come up. She's holding the head with the phone strapped to the head.
Because she doesn't know what she has.
Right. And everybody's screaming.
Oh, wow.
But I think you need to back up a little bit, though.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you've gotten to the place where like Angela's always missing. Isn't her name? And no, not Angela.
Allison.
Allison's always missing.
Yes.
Allison's always missing, and right now I'm at the part where they. Interesting, because I don't realize Jem is blind, but they bought back that radio from RD8, and the one I think it was Allison said, "Did she find it? We put it all the way in the bottom, the back, in the dark." But I guess her and Patrick play with it when
and that's kind of a big deal because that was kind of like the thing I think that they were one of the things that they were after or whatever.
Yes, that was one of the things.
Nobody was supposed to find it because they had it back there, but then she had it, and then they thought, well, they'll just let her be distracted by playing with it, and then it had this whole like death thing or whatever.
And that's where I thought that didn't need to be in there. I thought that it wasn't necessary.
And that's what made Jonathan kind of go off the wall a little
right bit. So Jonathan goes off the walls because they hear a voice in the machine that says like, I'm trapped in a dark place, help me. And he thinks it's Cameron's
dead voice
spirit talking to him through the machine. So he loses his mind and everybody else is panicking, and Jem is over there being like, why isn't everybody working on this project?
Yeah, because she wants to get this project finished.
Right. She has no idea that the other
and it's kind of funny because Jem is all like me and I want to do this, and I didn't get to go to the place that I wanted to go to because she wanted to go to that facility because of all the radio parts and everything. Yeah. She didn't get to go. So whenever they all went, she to their place where she took out the booking and put them all in one room.
Yeah, she put them all in the one room. Yes.
And that is basically what spirals everything. Is that.
Yes.
And and she didn't
way better
know what she was doing. She was just being spiteful.
Yes. So, and when they booked the whole room, that's when I think you're right. That's the key point to where the whole thing flips, because that is when Cameron, okay, I have to look at my notes. Cameron, I would keep wanting to call him Connor. Cameron gets killed.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm at the point, where they've just come back. They just told the story of okay, we all drank and Luda felt bad.
You don't find out about what happened at that spot until way
right. Because all you hear randomly is that you think Allison is missing. So I thought Allison was dead.
Yeah.
That was and then they found pig's blood and things on sheets.
On the blanket for the installation thing, yes.
They found pig's blood.
Yeah.
So I thought it was Allison. They killed Allison. She was doing something shady or whatever.
And because Jem is real serious about everything that's happening, she's the one keeps investigating things, which keeps ruining all their other things because she wants to know where Allison is. So she has her dad take her to the place where she's supposed to be working or where her business is.
Yeah.
And then you find out some things there that was different. It's like, oh,
might as well. Allison isn't Allison.
Who's
Allison has a sister named, I have it, Susie.
I feel like we're really going off the rails in all directions right now.
That's what I said. I mean, it's it all starts to pile up at the end, and then you're just like, because they were always mad because Jonathan, they thought Jonathan was having an affair with Allison.
Yeah.
But Allison is his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're
married.
Susie or whatever.
Gotcha.
And everything.
So is Allison a real artist that the whole time, but it's just not her?
It's not her. Right. Yeah, they traded places.
And they thought that if she just says it's her, Susie could get into the program, but she could then show her work and be appreciated for who she is and not just in her sister's shadow.
Now that you're talking about this, now I have to ask about another character, but since the school's not real,
right?
What's up with Griff, the janitor helper at the school?
So he is the janitor helper, right?
Yeah, I think he's just a tech guy that's
He
there.
is, but
Yeah,
he is very important because he's like, if you look back, he's the one that's like, he starts to put the real pieces together. He's, you know what I mean? Like, he's the one that's like, oh,
Because
there's
he's the one that
pig blood on the
discovered the-
sheet.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. He just said, he's like, oh, I
Right.
found that. And, you know.
And then there was nobody working in the studio.
Yes.
Like, he's more of like what is happening in real time. And then everything else is like what's true, what's not.
But so his real character is being
Yeah.
the janitor of
Yeah.
this place, and he's just
Or-
trying to like
yeah.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah, or helper or something of. I
Yeah.
don't know if he's necessarily the janitor. I don't know how.
I think they call them
Tech guy or something, a technician.
Yeah.
Or something,
And so he's more of the. I think he's the best voice of reason, if you will, or like the voice of truth in the whole thing.
Okay.
He seems to be the most like, this is what's going on, and everybody else around them is like, there's secrets. Somebody's got a secret.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pop Angela's comment really quick. I had a hard time believing how they solved the face recognition, but ran with it. Yeah, this one you just gotta suspend your disbelief.
Yeah,
like the whole time. It's worse than a cozy mystery.
Yeah, it was just wild.
Okay.
So did we?
And it's also, I think it's funny that the reason why Cameron gets killed and sparks like all this stuff was so dumb, kind of, because it was. But I mean, I understand why, but it was just like, if they would have been in separate rooms, it would have never happened.
Right.
Oh boy. Okay.
So him and Lutta are fighting, right? It's Lutta, right?
I think so.
And then Patrick steps in to help Lutta, and Patrick ends up smacking Cameron on the head and kills him.
Okay.
But it's kind of an Agatha Christie situation in a way, where they all are shady and they all have reasons.
And I think he's thinking like back a long time ago, and it kind of sparked something, and then they're fighting, and he thinks that the one is going to hurt the girl, and so he's,
So he is the one that delivers the final
and
blow.
then they're all in on it because they've got to do something because of that whole like climate thing,
right,
and stuff. So they've got to be on board with what they're doing and all that stuff.
Yes. So then they all get involved,
and they're all trying to do that as well as try to pretend like they're all real happy-go-lucky artists.
Right. Right.
At the time.
Yeah. And the whole time, and I don't know, Cameron was never an artist at all. Like, I don't think he had any kind of art.
I think he was like kind of hooked up with the Gela or whatever. Like,
they were together.
Letting him infiltrate the class because he was looking into the climate people.
Yes.
And what they were doing.
Right. But I think most of them had some kind of art background of some kind
but she went and hand selected them all
to play the part. But I think Cameron was the only one that really didn't.
Yeah.
Have some kind of art.
Yeah, because she kept trying to be like, you got to do something so that I can at least give you a passing,
That's where I'm at right now. Yeah, she's just like,
in the class.
You've fallen ill or whatever is the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because like when you only have 6 people in a class, you would think you would have to play this better before people will get even more suspicious. Like I would start asking questions. Maybe I'm like Gem. Maybe I'm the Gem.
Because she didn't know what was going on. She was the only one asking all the questions.
Well, she was the only one that was like trying to seriously get this.
And really wanted a good grade in the class.
Yeah.
So why ask her to be in it if everybody else was like there for this fake thing? Or was not everybody else the fake?
I think to make it more authentic.
Okay. I think that's why everybody else had ulterior motives. The 3, so it's Patrick. No,
and they needed their diversity.
Yeah. There
you go.
Well, Patrick, he had a shady past, but what was his connection He just got sucked in, right?
Well, he met Gilla at some point. Like I don't know whether it was
Oh, maybe that's what it was. I don't remember that.
at his place where he's supposed to be working or what. And she thought, oh, this will be a good one. You know, you should come and work in this place or whatever. So she thought, because she's the one that pretty much talked to all of them.
Yes.
Into come in and taking the course.
Yeah.
And everything. And I think she picked Jim because she's blind.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Because if you want somebody to be an artist and to do everything, but not know what's going on, somebody who's blind. Yeah. They just didn't realize she was going to be this antagonizing Gen Z who wanted to know everything and who thought she was like way up here.
Yeah.
And
she's busy writing emails about like, well, if somebody else gets a chance to redo their grade, I should too. And it's like,
right. And everybody else is trying to cover up a murder.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care about the grade, you know.
Right. There's a dead body in a freezer.
Yeah.
She was just being the typical Gen Z, you know, person.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then you find out at the end that so the examiner, Jem gets a hold of the examiner because, you know, she's Jem. Mm-hmm. And she's like, come to the final installation and see our project, right? So he comes to this project and they're all like, how did you get here? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. You're not supposed to be here. You
right.
Can't be here
right. And then Patrick gave him a finger so he could get in. That was funny. I liked that. Patrick gave him the finger so he could get into the location.
A resin finger.
Yes.
Wow.
And so you find out after this that what is her name? Like Penelope or something. She was like, hi, I'm Penelope. I'm the examiner. Can you let me into the documents? And then you're like, what? Because
this whole time we thought we were talking, the examiner was examining things.
The guy. Yeah. And she's
like, yeah.
He's not. But I don't remember what his role is. Do you, Storm?
I thought he was working.
Was he working for the company?
Was he working with Cam? Or was he?
He might have been. That is one thing I don't remember. So when you get to that point, Lee, let us know.
Okay.
It's been too long ago. I know he was shady and I remember what happened to him.
Right. Me too. But it happens at the end.
Yeah.
And it's so this Philippa goes, she asks at the end, she says, I want to download the MA multimedia art documents, but it says retrieval complete. Can anyone help? And so then there's these people that are in like admin and they're like, oh, who are you? We already had this guy named Ben Sketcher. And then Philippa says, no one here has heard of Ben Sketcher. Who's in charge of admin? Please unlock the system and allow me to access these documents. So, and then Ben disappears.
And we know what happened, but you can find it.
You can find out. We've said enough.
You've told me the story. Now I've got to go figure out the rest.
Well, and I think you might actually, after hearing us.
Once you get to about 60%, I think that's really when it just everything's and everything, and you're just like, oh my goodness, what in the world is going on? Because that was kind of how I was. I was like, I needed to, which is why I said that's why I gave it 3.5 because I felt like I was kind of bored up until about then.
Yes.
And then it was just so bonkers crazy,
right?
That it was just like okay, but I just didn't think it really deserved a 4-star.
No, I get that. And I think by hashing it out, the two of us with Lee, I think you will get more out of it reading it now because I think you'll be able to like see things and piece it together piece by piece, where I think Storm and I were just like, what is going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, now just knowing that Jem's blind and going through the rest of it, now I'm going to be thinking of it that way, you know?
Right. And whenever you see like the things that she does or whatever, and then be like, oh, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
Now I can just find her annoying for being annoying, not, because she can't see.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Do you think that this is specifically to Storm, I guess? Do you think that you could solve this by just if you got this book and they said solve the murder, before they did at the end, like before it was revealed? Do you think you could do that?
No, because obviously I thought it was Angela the whole time, and because I really went into it with like, it's got to be her. She's never around, and
Right.
everything,
The
which
whole thing.
which is really fun too, because like Cam was never around either. But I guess I just never thought about it as much because he's talking to Gilla all the time, and that comes into play when she finds out things too, because like, so you just, those were the two that were not there, but out of the two, I just never went to the Cameron one. I
Right.
thought it was the Angela one.
Right, because you were told that Allison was missing.
Yeah.
So you just automatically didn't even think about other people being,
even though she would pop up in a text now and then. I was convinced it was somebody else.
Me too.
But I wasn't convinced it's somebody else sending Cam, you know.
Right. No, I did too. I thought there was somebody had taken her phone and was texting the messages or whatever, and that she was dead.
Yeah.
And it was something shady.
So, and it got me in that kind of stuff because I really, because I was trying really hard. I was like, oh, it's, and then I thought it was going to be Jim. Because
see that
annoying. Somebody bump her off.
Right.
But now you're hearing spoiler. They didn't have to worry about that in certain ways.
Yeah. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I think if she wasn't blind, she would have had to been killed. Because she would have seen too much.
Well, I feel like where I've read in the book, if she got killed, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like, you're annoying.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. Yeah, she knew.
And I will say, in A Box Full of Murders, the middle grade one, there is a lot more reading in that one involved than I think some of the other ones, because they're reading diary entries, like the kids, and there's like a lot. But I thought the diary entries were a lot more interesting than like the doodles and things like that we're getting in this one. Because, you know, I had to read that all with my eyeballs. I didn't have an audio.
Yeah, see, the diaries, I think, are a little bit different. When you're doing, like, this, like, quick back and forth text, it's, like, it's boring when you're just reading, like, not interested or whatever. Like, you know, they're just doing a quick little word toward another person. It's not moving you along any further.
Right. And I feel like
it makes it move along page-wise, but it doesn't move the story.
Exactly, yes.
Right. Yeah. It's easy to read page-wise, and I think it's harder to digest. It's harder to solve a mystery because you get to the point where you have to either take copious amounts of notes or you just fly by the seat of your pants. And that is what I did, the flying by the seat of my pants. I was just like, I can't keep all of this straight. So we're just going to go straight through it. I
must say that the middle grade one got me in the end too. I'm like, who done it? Because I never went that way. And I was just like,
all
So
books for me get me most of the time. I don't try to, but I don't go in trying to solve the murder.
Yes, true. Same.
Now, in a cozy mystery, towards the end, I'll be like, oh, I have my suspicions, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that person did it. But I'm not the type that go in to try to solve a murder.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily do that either. I think either you come to a realization that, well, there's only like these 3 suspects, it's got to be one of them.
Right.
Or something when you're in a cozy mystery, because it's like the one that I'm reading right now. There's like, to me, I feel like there's like 2 suspects. So I'm like, if one is eliminated, that leaves the other one, unless she just hits me with the curveball and it's somebody that I wasn't even thinking about. But, you know, I didn't go into it trying to like figure out, but it's just like, it's gotta be these people.
These 2 people that are left that are shady. Yeah. I'm going to try to see if there's anything else that I wanted to chat about. I think we got it all. I mean, one of my questions was, who annoyed you the most?
Jem.
Yeah. I knew Storm immediately. I already knew before we even started the discussion that Storm would say Jem, which I don't blame her. So that is The Appeal by Janice Hallett.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. No, it isn't.
She's trying to confuse people already if they watch this.
This is The Examiner by Janice Hallett. My brain is a bunch of.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, wait, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
I know.
You both are like, nope. What is wrong with you? Oh, you can't take me anywhere. That was me yesterday trying to film a video. I had to cut out a huge chunk because I was just like, what am I even saying? It was wild. And Nadine said, I never go in trying to solve the mystery, but I want it to be logical and make some sense. Yes, I don't like it when the author pulls things out of thin air just to come up with a solution. I agree. The only time that I will go along with it is if it's bananas like this. Like, I do like a wild curveball every once in a while in a book, especially like a thriller, like Frida McFadden. She always pulls these things where I'm just like, what? Mm-hmm. He did what with who? Or you're this person? I like that, but I do if I read too many at a time, I'm like, okay, I'm over that.
I do. It has to be somebody that's been mentioned more than once.
Yes.
While you're reading the book, I don't like it when it's the person that's mentioned at the beginning of a book and never mentioned ever again, and then all of a sudden that's the person that.
And you're supposed to know that they like were enemies back in like 30 years ago, and you only saw this guy one time for 5 minutes. It's like, how would I know that? There's
that was kind of with the murder at Marble House, the Gilded Newport #2. I kind of felt like they did that to me in that book, and I was like, how was I supposed to know it was that person? They weren't even mentioned that much.
Right. There's been a handful of cozies where, especially that I'm like, oh, we didn't even hear this character. What is this person doing? Yeah. There was a mention of bullying in this book, and I thought that's why I thought Jem was the one that got murdered originally, because I thought she was complaining about bullying.
Yeah.
And I thought it was because it was Jem that gets murdered.
And I thought it was because she was whining so much that one of them just flipped him. Because I did
too. I did too. Honestly, I thought it was because she was being too nosy or too goody two shoes or however you want to phrase it. I thought that was why she got murdered. Janice Hallett.
And then Patrick babysitting her made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
To keep her out of trouble, to try to, keep her from being distracted.
Oh yeah.
Keep her from, once you know what happened, and then you're like, oh, that's why he was
right. You're like, oh, that explains everything. So that is that book. I think we've gotten through the comments. It's after 8. I promised you guys only like an hour-ish of your time, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. We decided the three amigos here, that we are going to read "It's Not Her" by Mary Kubica. Kubica? Is it Kubica? I think it's what I think too. Okay. I hate mispronouncing. I should really make a point to look at people's names beforehand.
But even when I do, as soon as I get on here, I forget.
You forget it.
Absolutely. And I did that every time I was doing an author. I would practice the author's name. And most of the time I would remember because I would do it so often. But every once in a while, there was an author, I'm not going to name her name, but she corrected me 3 minutes before I went on to do an introduction. And I was just like, I can't. I don't know. So I was like, sorry, I butchered your name.
I was just adding that. I was just putting that book on hold so I can get it.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, I felt so bad. I was like, I'm sorry, but you can't tell me 3 minutes before I go on that's a new pronunciation. It was really hard. So we're going to try Mary Kubica, and we are going to discuss this on June 18th. So that gives people hopefully plenty of time. I got to erase this. I wrote the wrong date. June 18th, and we'll do it 7 p.m. on my channel. I'll put it on a post or whatever on my channel so then everybody knows. But it's going to be June 18th, 7 p.m. We're going to discuss It's Not Her by Mary Kubica. Hopefully we'll not do a blow-by-blow of every crazy twist that happens, but it is what it is. So it was fun. YouTube.
I think it made a twist that I didn't read it, and you guys could tell me the highlights here.
I think that was fun.
Yeah.
I think, especially with those kind of books, especially with like a Janice Hallett, where there's so much meat in it, I think I got more out of it when I discuss it with with you guys more than I did just reading it by myself.
Yeah.
Just because it was so bonkers that I was like, did you read this?
It was definitely a lot more fun talking about it because it was like, and this happened.
Right. Again, body in the freezer, and then they had to like wipe off his face and his eyelids.
Yeah, and it's like, and to be the one that had to do that too.
Right. Which one did though? Somebody said I'll do it. Was it Luda?
Either
Susie.
whoever Allison or whoever's.
Okay, that's right.
That's why he was never around.
Yeah, so it was wild. And Liz says, I totally enjoyed this combo. Oh, thanks. It was kind of a like, let's see what we could get with this. And knowing it wasn't alone and thinking it was bonkers. Yes, it was absolutely bananas. And Nadine said, I'm 35th in line for Mary Kubica book at my library. LOL.
Well, at least there's a couple months you might.
Yeah, you got time.
I think I'm 37, so I'm right there with you, Nadine. So
yeah, you got time.
It's on the audiobook's on my Hoopla. So.
Yeah, check your Hoopla, see if you've got that.
I just went to the library. Maybe I should.
If you have Spotify, there's so many hours you can listen to. There's Libby, there's Hoopla. Let me see what else. If you're crazy like me and have an Audible subscription every once in a while for those emergencies and you want to use a credit, I've heard it's good. There's always deals. So mark this if you're an ebook reader and you like don't mind spending $1.99, mark this on a wish list on Amazon. And then if it like comes up to being like $1.99 and you want to like grab it, you could do it that way too. So just different options. You don't have to buy it. I am fully supportive of getting it from your library, but just different options if it comes up.
I will say that talking about this book was a lot more fun than reading it.
Yay!
Nice.
Yay! And if anybody, if you are watching this back and want to share your insanity thoughts with us, please feel free to put it in the comments. If you haven't read this book and enjoyed our spoiler discussion, tell us that you're going to read it because we just made you want to read it because it was so bananas. Again, I think if you haven't read it and you're watching this, I think you might actually get more out of it because it is spoiled, but you will understand the story. I think
more as you read it. I think.
Yeah, it'll make more sense as you go along. So that was that. And Nadine said, this was fun. Well, thanks, Nadine. We had fun. So with that, my lovely co-hosts and I are going to say good night. Lee and I, and maybe Storm if you want, Lee and I were throwing it around. We might do some sprints on my channel on Saturday, late morning, after we get up.
And morning momentum.
Yes, Saturday morning. That's right. After Saturday morning momentum. I know Liz is in the chat. She also is part of that gang on Kat's channel. So Liz, if you want to come on and sprint with us on Saturday, let me know. Storm, if you want to come on and hang out with us, you can. Anybody wants to, you are more than welcome to. If you came to this discussion from Kat's Discord, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully we will see you again soon. I did post this in Kat's Discord as well as Killing Time with Cozies. So hopefully new people from the Discords will hit us up and hang out with us. So thank you all. And with that, I'm going to end this live stream. But Lee, you have to remind me, what do? I have to hit.
You end the stream first and then you leave the room.
Yeah. Every time, Storm. Every time I panic, I hit leave the chat, and then my stream is still going. And then I have to go back into the studio in the live stream. It's just the whole thing.
Or something like that, I think.
And then somebody comes at me at Discord, not comes at me, but like messages me on Discord being like, your stream is still going. And I'm like, Yep. So in stream. I will see you guys later. And thanks for joining us. Bye, guys.